Threats of biodiversity is also called loss of biodiversity. Threats of biodiversity done with following factors. One is natural habitat destruction. Second one is fragmentation of habitat, over exploitation of population, introduction of exotic species, pollution, poaching, greenhouse effect, pest control, Jhum cultivation, deforestation, and diseases. These are the major causes for the threatening of biodiversity or loss of biodiversity. These are the major factors. These are the major factors for the threatening of biodiversity. Natural habitat destruction mean habitat destruction is the process by which a natural habitat becomes incapable of supporting its native species. It is also called, means the habitat destruction is also called habitat loss and habitat reduction. The organisms that previously inhabited the site are displaced or dead, thereby reducing biodiversity and species abundance. Fragmentation of habitat. Fragmentation happens when parts of habitat are destroyed, leaving behind smaller uncounted areas. This can occur naturally as a result of fire or volcanic eruptions, but it is normally due to human activity. A simple example is the construction of a road through a woodland. Fragmentation habitat means it is the division of habitat, cleavage of habitat by fire or volcanic eruptions. Normally, it's done with human activities. It is one type of threat to the biodiversity. Over exploitation of population. Over exploitation of population mean the unsustainable use of natural resources and over exploitation, which occurs when harvesting exceed reproductions of wild plant and animal species, continues to be a major threat to the biodiversity. Over exploitation of population need over food material. So over food material mainly done with grazing by herbivores. So overgrazing by herbivores, it is continued to be a major threat to the biodiversity in future days. Introduction of exotic species. Introduction of exotic species means foreign species, alien species are entered into the new areas called introduction of exotic species. Exotic species are organisms that have been introduced into an area outside their normal distribution. Human individuals or agencies have both intentionally or accidentally introduced alien species into ecosystem, sometimes with devastating unintended consequences. Best example for introduction of exotic species, Parthenium hysteroporus belongs to Asteraceae family. Parthenium hysteroporus introduced in India as a medicinal plant. Later, it occupied total environment, adapted total environment, and it is dominant on the local species. So local species are destroyed by the dominating of Parthenium hysteroporus. And the next threat is pollution. Pollution is the introduction of harmful material into the environment. These harmful materials are called pollutants. Pollutants can be natural, such as volcanic ash. They can also be created by human activity, by running of vehicles, fuels, burning of fuels, and such as trash or runoff produced by factories. Here it is, we run off vehicles also, using of vehicles with diesel, petrol, firewood, and the pollutants damage the quality of air, water, and land. The pollution is also major threat to the biodiversity. The next threat is deforestation. Deforestation, in simple words, cutting down of trees. Deforestation refers to the decreases in the forest areas. Decrease in the forest areas across the world that are lost for other uses such as agriculture, crablands, urbanization, or mining activities. Greatly accelerated by human activities since 1960, deforestation has been negatively affecting natural ecosystem and biodiversity and the climate. The poaching is also major threat to the biodiversity. Poaching means hunting of animals and plants. Poaching a specific threat to the certain animals are related to large income benefits like skin and bones from tigers, ivory means teeth from elephants, horns from rhinos, and perfumes from the musk deer. See, for these needed things, the tiger, elephants, rhinos, and deers are poached by the human beings for the additional and large income benefits. Deers are killed for their gallbladder. Their, the rare whale shark, a highly endangered species, is being killed off the coast of Gujarat. Corals shells are also collected for export or sold on the beaches of Chennai and Kanyakumari. The next threat is to biodiversity greenhouse effect. The trapping of the sun's warmth in a planet's lower atmosphere due to the greater transparency of the atmosphere to visible radiation from the sun than to infrared radiation emitting from the planet's surface. Greenhouse effect, mainly the greenhouse gases carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide. Like these gases are absorbed more heat from the sun waves. So these gases are mainly involved in the absorption of heat. So these gases are high concentration on this planet. They are mainly helps in increasing of temperature on the earth. It is also major threat to the biodiversity. Pest control. It is also one threat to the biodiversity. Pest controls is the regulation or management of a species defined as a pest. Any animal, plant, or fungus that impacts adversely on human activities or environment. The next threat is Jhum cultivation. Jhum cultivation is also called as a shifting cultivation and is practiced by tribal groups in northeastern states on a small patch lands. In this cultivation, the area is first cleared of trees, means cutting down of trees and vegetation, and then burnt after that. The ash that remained after burning acts as a fertilizers for the soil. Then the fertilizers are reduced in the soil that tribal groups are leave from that place and choose another place, and they are repeated the same activities on that forest. By the continuation of Jhum cultivation, forest will be reduced. If the forest will be reduced, it is also threat to the biodiversity. The forest reduction are reducing with Jhum cultivation. And the next threat is diseases. Spread of invasive species and diseases through trade and travel. Climate change as warming and changing rainfall patterns, alert species ranges, and the underlaying of water, chemical cycles which define current ecosystem. Pollution from plastic waste, although its long-term effects on the biodiversity are far from clear. These are the threats to the biodiversity. They are also called loss of biodiversity.